Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. I have a book review for you today. Book I just finished, R.F. Kuang's The Poppy War. This is book one of a trilogy in which all books are out. And book two is entitled The Dragon Republic, and book three entitled The Burning God. This is book one, and I'm gonna be honest. This video is gonna have a lot of spoilers in the sense that I'm just gonna talk about the major implications of the book, because this was the first one-star book that I have read, and you may have really enjoyed this book, and that is not to disparage you. This is not to necessarily argue about it. It's just to kind of share why this book did not work for me at all. And I wrote my review on my Goodreads account. If you're interested, you can follow my Goodreads channel. It's linked in the description of the channel, and you'll be able to kind of see it fully. I was just going to kind of work through it because I don't really want to miss a lot of why I didn't like this book, really why I disagree with a lot of the choices, pretty much every choice that was made. And so let's just kind of give the general overview. One of the parts that structurally with the book is that I felt like Kuang had probably like 3 books in this book alone that she could have kind of slowed down and given me a lot more time with my character, Rin. And I feel like maybe that would have been a little different because I did not relate well with Rin in the slightest. And I'll kind of share why a little bit. But war orphan Rin experiences heartache and discrimination and manipulation through really every chapter and every stage of this entire story. She almost kills herself getting accepted into the most prestigious military academy in the area. And she actually tests well enough that she not just gets in, but is top of the results list for her district, for her area. And so she gets accepted only to find that the anger, the hate, the abuse that she was trying to escape is magnified because power corrupts people at every stage of every socioeconomic level. And she finds that she is now judged and marginalized by spoiled and hateful fellow students and very critical and hateful professors. And she must once again put her hand to the plow and work and work and work if she's going to get ahead. She's apprenticed ultimately to the lore professor, and her understanding of herself and a power that is within her begins to grow as she is taught more about the lore, more about the religious and deific histories and spiritual realities of the world. Everything, though, changes when the neighboring antagonistic empire of Mugen invades. The studies are stopped, the school is actually destroyed, and the students get enlisted into the army to begin to be soldiers. And she has to decide how she is going to use power, how she is going to try to achieve power to create the results that she wants. She has to decide why she is fighting for a country that has done nothing for her but marginalize and take advantage of her. And ultimately, she has to decide for whom she is fighting. The professors, her family, her friends that she's made, or the sort of hero that she had while at school, a very troubled older student named Alton. The plot, that's very, very condensed. There's a lot of nuances. There's a lot of scenes that I did not talk about there. But ultimately, the more she learns about the spiritual implications and the fact that her people have access to the gods to use them for their own ends, and the fact that the the invading Empire of Mugen does not have access to the gods even expands the desire for power to the spiritual realm. And so the implications continue to grow and grow and grow as Rin's personal experience is different, but she must face kind of the same societal and power struggles that she's faced her whole life. Some of the characters, there are a lot of characters in this through every step. Our main character is Rin. Again, she's our protagonist. She is the main character. Things are definitely from her perspective. It's not in first person, but she is our point of view character. Alton is the last survivor of this people that was actually subjected to genocide by Rin's nation, not by the invading empire. So she has to sort of rationalize that and figure out why would her people destroy this nation, this people group. What is it about them that scared her leaders, that motivated her leaders to destroy them? She has a best friend that she meets while at the Institute, Kate. He is very loyal. He's very brilliant. His father is very well connected politically, and he sort of is the balance. He is someone who is very consistent, and frankly, he is, from my reading, really the only morally good character that we have. That's one of the main reasons I did not enjoy this book, is that it's not just the fact that morals are more than black and white. It's the fact that what motivates Rin and what motivated Alton and what motivated her entire empire against the Empire of Mugen is the same thing that is engaged in by her leaders, by her professors, by her friends, by different militaristic groups that she's involved in throughout the story. The same actions happen by everybody. And yet Rin, our character, she claims this sort of victimized mindset that I can't believe the world has treated me this way. And how the world has treated her is terrible. But then she will turn around and use the power that she receives to, frankly, do the same thing. And in many ways, way worse than what those who are she views as her enemies have done. And I'm not minimizing any of the major abuses that are discussed in this book, but Rin has to endure a lot of abuse. Some of the fellow characters have to endure a lot of abuse. And yet, it seemed like every step of the way, Rin is motivated by revenge. She's motivated by bloodlust. And what she does, to me, is just as bad as what the invading empire has done. And so when I read through it, I kept waiting to see some type of moral redemption, some type of, oh yes, I can see how she, as our main character, endured such hurt. Some of her closest friends endured such barbarism, and yet through it, she redeemed the situation. She rose above the hate. She rose above the violence. And unfortunately, Rin does not. She embraces the violence. She embraces the darkness. And she, in a very real way, sells her soul to the devil to get the revenge that she wants. I said earlier, there are spoilers happening. I'm not going to tell you specifics, but there are spoilers with the main plots lines of the story. There were some extremely troubling scenes in this book, and I would really caution certainly our younger readers. This is very much an adult book, and there are some very traumatic scenes in this book that I would just caution a content warning. If you are younger, please talk to someone who's older who can approve this or who can talk with you about responding to some of the things that you find in this book. I watched, listened to an interview with R.F. Kuang because the more I was going through the book, I was shocked at how the moral goodness is discredited, and our characters will use the same type of militaristic aggression, same societal pressures that the enemy uses, and there was no explanation for why is it okay for one to do it out of revenge and out of hate, but the other to do it for out of revenge and hate is not addressed. And in the interview, she explained that she wanted to show how Rin actually had been brainwashed by the patriarchal and imperialistic society that she grew up in, that she was raised in. Nikara is the name of the empire that she lives in, and the empress that they follow, that they fight for, is presented as being no different, no better than the empire of the emperor of Mugen, who invades. And she kind of wanted to show that the effects of those cultural pressures were relentless, and the brainwash that Rin and the trauma that she experienced, essentially, there was no other way for her to turn out. And while I could see that if that's where we're going, she's a victim of her society, like a tragic tale of how we as a people need to be better. We as a people need to rise above the hate that is so prevalent. I think that's maybe a little bit of a weaker emphasis in the sense of this just sort of vague generalizations, especially when your main character, or at least any character, isn't demonstrating that. But where I thought it absolutely failed is that at the end of the story, when Rin finally does get power that she's been so desiring, she finally does make a deal with the devil to engage in vengeance and retribution and ultimate destruction for her enemy. When she gets to that point, what the individual who can give her that power confesses to her is that your future was not written. Your path was not predetermined. Every choice that you made, and they go back through at that point, different scenes in the book, every choice that you made has been because you wanted this. It's been because you've brought yourself here. And that is completely opposite of what I feel are the parameters that R.F. Kuang created the story to communicate. I feel like she created it where society has so maligned and so put down Rin, her people, because of her appearance, because of her gender, because of her intellectual level, whatever. Because of her socioeconomic position, society has pushed you down, and you have responded in hate, you've responded in rage, because there was no other choice. This is what society and culture has made you to be. To then have her, at the end of the book, look to us, the reader, and say, every step of the way, Rin put herself here. I just felt like, help me reconcile both of these. And I just didn't think that she did. And I didn't think that she did it well at all. But to me, the most egregious decision, and I've used the word genocide a couple times, and I don't say that lightly. One of the main motivators for Rin's hate is that Alton, the man that she looks up to, who will ultimately become her commander, his past was ripped from him. His people were destroyed by the Empire of Nikara, which is Rin's people. And he alone is the survivor from a people that have been wiped out. And that is one of the main galvanizing elements of the story that really focuses her on, this is the path that I'm taking. I will not allow this to happen to my people again. And in fact, will do the same exact thing to her enemy. And the moral outrage that she felt at this wicked empire who would do this to someone that she loved, there was no moral retribution. There was no consequence in this story for her doing the same thing, other than her friend looking at her as if she had betrayed the trust that he had given her as his loyal friend. There's the entire justice system in this book is wacky, and the lack of governmental oversight is insane in this book. Like, how on earth do we let these, it's like Hogwarts, right? Where you got these students that are being trained, immediately thrown into the deep end of the pool, and there's just no oversight, especially in the one militaristic company that Rin gets put in. And it's like, they're these like super soldiers that answer only to the Empress. And yeah, like, I could not believe when Rin makes her final decision. I could not believe that there was no consequence for her action by anyone in power. So I did not enjoy reading this book. I'm going to admit, and this book came highly recommended by some people who said, oh, you are going to love it. You are going to so get enamored with this story, with the characters. I was shocked at the moral ambiguity in this book. And I disagreed with almost every political, militaristic, societal, and yes, moral choice that Kwong made in this book. But this is book one. At this point, I don't really want to continue the series. But let me know. Am I falling for the bait? Am I experiencing exactly what she set me up to experience in book one? In the sense that, did she want Rin to be a character that you really empathize with and that you really respect? Is the moral ambiguity something that she did mean to contradict herself by saying that she's a victim of her environment, and then at the same time, everything that happened just because she chose to go there and she could have chosen against it? I don't think that that's necessarily explainable. So I gave this book a 1 out of 5 stars, my first 1 star that I've had. And it's a shame. But at the same time, literature and story making is fascinating because it can hit me one way, and I can take something away from this book that you may have a very different opinion about. So let me know if you disagree, let me know why, and let me know if you agree and why. And we will continue reading some stories in the future, but for The Poppy War by R.F. Kuang, book one of this trilogy, was not something that I really enjoyed the process. But thanks so much for watching. You can like and subscribe if you're interested, and we will continue to read and experience and enjoy books, hopefully, in the future. But thanks so much. We'll get back together in the next video.